Icon? I don't know his origins.
So here was his leg drop. Let me see if I can play this without getting flagged here. But this was his leg drop. This was pretty standard. This was a major moment right here. See, he'd come down and he'd drop the leg, and he would hit people with it. And that was like, this moment in particular was really important because up to this point, Hulk Hogan had always been a good guy. Always. And he was like the John Cena of wrestling at the time. And he was always a good guy, but at Bash at the Beach in like 1996 or 1997, whatever it was, he came down and you hear him, the reference to Hogan being the third man. Have you ever heard that reference before, Dave?
From you just a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, so
what do you mean by that?
Okay, do you know the NWO storyline? Do you know what the NWO is?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I love this.
I'm really a beginner in that sort of
Dude, I love this. I love that you have no idea. Okay, the NWO was one of the biggest factions of wrestlers at the time, really ever, right? You see people wearing these NWO shirts today. It is massive. So, leading up in the storyline, there were two wrestlers, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And they had recently come over to WCW, which was a competitor of WWF at the time. And they had come over, and they were talking about at this big pay-per-view event, there's going to be a third man, but they didn't tell anybody who it was. And Hulk Hogan had been on a break for a long time, like 6 months, and nobody had heard from him. And Hulk Hogan came out, and everyone thought he was going to come help the good guys. But he turned heel, or turned to a bad guy, and that's what helped create the NWO, with this group of former WWF people in WCW, because Hogan was also a former WWF guy. And they turned into be like, they were like the anti-hero, the bad guys that everybody loved to hate. It was awesome.
And that's awesome, man. It's like a Street Fighter story or something like that. You have complicated plots, you have signature moves for each character.
Yes.
That's awesome.
1000%. And for people like me who grew up in the 90s, like I was there and I rode that entire train, the entire train of that storyline and stuff. And so Hulk was like peak good guy. He was also peak bad guy. At one point, there was a match with him and The Rock, where it was an icon versus icon match. And you obviously know The Rock. The Rock, right? Another guy who's transcended wrestling. They had a match at WrestleMania where the plan was for Hulk to be the bad guy and Rock to be the good guy. And the crowd was so into it that they actually flipped it mid-script. So Rock became the bad guy and Hulk became the good guy. And because they kind of listened to the crowd and stuff, it's like this iconic moment in wrestling.
So they do have some independent agency right there in the moment.
Rock and Hulk Hogan do. Listen, it was like this iconic moment. The crowd was electric. I love the Toronto great wrestling crowd. Really, really fun. So that's just the wrestling aspect of this, right? He was, obviously Sailor was kind of it. That was his whole shtick in the 80s. And then he turned into a bad guy in the 90s. And then he was just kind of always just kind of there in the back. He'd appear occasionally on WWE television, and most of the time, he was cheered. There was obviously a lot of controversy around it. Last we talked about steroids and stuff. He was heavily linked to steroids, and he was, going to go on trial for a steroid trial in the 80s.
Pretty sure they're very common for the steroid.
Yeah, and when you look at, let's see if you can find a list of the wrestlers from the 80s who now pass away, because making it to 71 as a wrestler is like honestly spectacular. And the abuse that they put their body through. Oh yeah. I mean,
well, I think I will have a list of things you say. I review. We have David Bonner and Rodney Adrian Hellman, Hillman. Does that
yeah. So to me it does. So Bruce Brody was Hillman. Hillman, so all these. The big thing with a lot of wrestlers of that era, of like both of them started in the 70s and really popped off in the 80s. But wrestling wasn't like it was today. Right? The wrestling is, right? Everyone knows the story, everyone knows that there's twists and turns. Good guys can win, the bad guys can win. People get hurt when they're trying to hurt each other. Right? In the 70s and 80s, nobody knew this. It was just like, wow, these guys are getting hurt. And it looked considerably more real than it did today. And honestly, it was more real because there were times where wrestlers who were just breaking in, they would literally go into these training camps and get the shit kicked out of them. And it was like a test of honor, a test of might, almost like a respect video. They would, like, Hulk Hogan tells a story where he had his leg broken and he was out for like 6 months. He went into his for training and he had his leg broken. And they were like, if you really wanted to come back for it, then he had to come back like 6 months later after his leg is a big deal. And yeah, that's really fucking great. So yeah, I mean, this is a big deal to a lot of people. There are people who are reacting online to this. This is just a quick overview from his Wikipedia page. You can see, this is him several years ago here, but huge. Started in 1977. Went huge and got big in the 80s, early 80s. But was way more than wrestling. He was like the first big guy to train in wrestling. I remember being on a show called Thunder in your place. Really big show. Down with Danny Garrisol. Thunder. Yeah, it was a show where it was a performance of Knight Rider on speedboats. Which Knight Rider was an awesome show. Then it was more or less just a go around and solve crimes on a boat. But by the way, everything I'm scrolling through here, this is just his wrestling career. Like I've been scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Like we're here. This is nuts. And the fact
what a legacy, man.
It was huge. Went down, did some small stuff after he went to TNA, which was a competitor. Now look, there's a lot of really positive things you can say about Hulk Hogan. There's also a lot of negative things you can say about Hulk Hogan, right? And we could kind of, I hate doing like the dance on the grave thing, but I'll just say like a lot of wrestlers had a lot of issues with Hulk Hogan because he was a very smart business person. Built into his contracts, he had what was called creative control. And if he didn't want to lose, he didn't like the way the story went. He didn't have to know. And that was built into his contract. So Hulk Hogan made, he knew he was Hulk Hogan. Which I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't quite understand. That he knew his value. And he mentioned that value. I mean, he was very, very welcome because of the work that he did. And he'd go to different promotions and make his money, and he'd get out. I mean, once again, by the way, go back to the page. I'm still scrolling. This is all in wrestling. We even got to other stuff. It's nuts. So, since 2008, that was around $30 million. When you look at this, lavish lifestyle, he had a big divorce. He had a show called Hogan's No Best, where that's where you got to know the daily reality side of it. So I didn't watch the Thunder, man. He was big time. See all this stuff. These movies here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I've done a lot of those tonight.
Yeah. Did you ever see Smurf?
No, not this one. That's the one.
Yeah, it's really bad. I watched it probably 6 months ago. It's bad. Really bad. And most people don't know on the brain where you mentioned that name. So
yeah, the first movie I watched from him was that Nanny movie. What's it called? Mr. Nanny?
Oh yeah, Mr. Nanny, yes. Yes, yeah. Let me see if I can find But yes, Mr. Nanny was big in the 80s. Blood chicken, he was at all sorts of things. All the W.
It was the first movie for Clark Rock. It was the first movie that I saw with that the thing of, hey, here's a family man has to deal with children. Yeah, which they did that with Schwarzenegger. They did that with Rock recently, and that one was the first that I saw this idea.
Yeah, it's true over the years. Yeah. There you go. A little bit of Mr. Danny for you there, Dan. Which is great.
Man, I'm gonna rewatch that.
And you should.
Of Hulk Hogan.
In honor of the Hulkster, go back and watch Mr. Nanny. No Hulk
That you, Sam?
was a
Wow.
silly.
Thank you
Like
for
all of
working
his
so
movies
late.
were not
I'll check your orders right away.
masterpieces by any means. You know, like that's
No,
the
it's
thing.
like it's harmless fun, and I miss that kind of stuff. And it seems like everything nowadays has to
How
be
did you
shaped.
manage to handle so many orders?
It's like it's as if people are trying to do their ultimate masterpiece every time they go for doing it.
Well done.
It's okay. Just doing some harmless fun.
Just talking about the pacifier with Vin Diesel, that movie's a lot
Yes.
of fun, actually. I love that one.
I was thinking about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You can see his, Rocky 3 was his first movie, and that really put him on the map. You're in any Rocky, that was a big deal. And he beat the hell out of Stallone in that movie.
Yeah, I heard about it. Like
Order
Stone said,
accepted.
like he went
Thank you.
real.
Yeah. And then that scene in it where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm just putting on a show or something like, really great. So, yeah, it took him several years. He went up wrestling, but he didn't like it so too hard, too soon. He most of the time, you hear that himself, spy hard things, sins. That's great. So yeah, Hulk Hogan, man, he was in video games as well. Obviously, all the WWE games. Yeah, the WCW games were much. One of the best wrestling games ever. WCW ever. 1997. Great. TNA game. But obviously, Dan is somebody who is aware of Hulk. This is someone who thinks in perspective all the better.
Absolutely, man. It's like sports and popular in general. It's like you had Steve Bean he was a bodybuilder and made his way from bodybuilding to sports. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger repeated that, and you always wonder, where did that guy came from before all of that? And it's like I too. Is it something to watch those old wrestling shows, some kind of archive or something like that?
Yeah, so you can watch them. Peacock. Yeah, Peacock. Yeah. Yeah, you can watch a lot of wrestling stuff on Peacock.
Interesting.
Yes. It's great. You should. Now, look, I quickly reflect. You can't talk about the movie without well, there was he did have a controversy where he was like sleeping with wife and stuff. There's a lot of like really messy shit. Yeah, it's no one's perfect. Hulk Hogan was not perfect by any means, but that doesn't mean he wasn't an icon of a lot of people. And I think that's everybody's flawed, everybody, and some are more flawed than others. Hulk Hogan is definitely a pretty flawed dude, but I think the thing that he represents was bigger than Hulk Hogan, right? He represented, whether he was a piece of shit in real life or not, the character of Hulk Hogan, not necessarily Terry Bollea, is what people really admired, was the idea of Hulk Hogan, not necessarily Terry Bollea, the person. So,
he has some pretty long conversations, pretty long episodes of Joe Rogan. On Joe Rogan podcast. It's like, I don't know, obviously I don't know him. I don't know Hulk Hogan personally, it's really hard to pretend and wear a mask for like on a conversation with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, if you talking for 3 hours, it's very, very hard.
hours. Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's get to some reactions to folks. Yeah, I'd say, one of the things that Hulk Hogan actually caught the most heat for recently when it comes to American, like the American zeitgeist and the American political world was actually when he appeared at the Republican National Convention last year. Did you see this? Did you ever see this, Dan?
I don't think so.
She saw this.
Yeah, so so he came in, and this was like one of his last big public appearances here was at the RNC.
Last week. Oh, I saw this. Shot. And my hero. Something to kill. Well, I actually saw that live. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome.
Well, I was about here ready to run through a wall.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. I don't think so. I'm contained. Thank you.
Well, you look like you were hyped.
There'll be a lot of weirdos like celebrating his death, man. Because of that.
Yeah, actually, I want to call out Mercenary here because he was all so happy and giddy that Ozzy died, but now he's like, oh no, Hulk died. It's like, what a contrarian. Anyway, it's fine.
Well, no, I mean that's the thing is everybody means something to.
Yeah, but it's just weird wishing death on someone and being happy that someone dies. I don't know. You never met this person, and you're like, yes, he's dead. It's like, okay.
But Blabs, it's not about him. It's not about meeting him. It's about what he represented, right? Like the idea of, like, Terry Bollea was a dude. Hulk Hogan was larger than life, right? And Hulk Hogan represented, the say your prayers, eat your vitamins, do good in school, do all these positive things. The Hulk Hogan character was a positive role model, right? Ozzy Osbourne, for a lot of people was seen as, regardless of if he found faith or whatever it is at the end of his life, he was seen as this like bad influence on people just from whatever. So it really comes down to
even though
drugs,
Hulk Hogan also
tons of reasons.
did the drugs with the steroids.
Yeah, dude, listen, it all comes down to your perspective. Like, look, hey,
my point is like wishing death on one celebrity. Kind of weird.
You shouldn't wish death on anybody,
Well, that's literally my point.
Yeah, but I mean, once again, it's I'm not going to tell anybody how they should feel, but I will tell you what people are feeling right now. RGT85, huge fan of Hulk Hogan, over on Twitter says, "Rip Hulk Hogan. I'm fucking devastated. I have a vid uploading right now, and then I'm disappearing for the day. Thank you for signing my book before your passing. Y'all have a good one." RGT, mega Hulk Hogan fan, mega retro game guy. Dan, do you know RGT?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. I mean, the idea that, he may have signed his book, may have met him, but they weren't like friends. But this is what this stuff does.
Oh, yeah. And he's taken the day off to mourn the passing of Hulk Hogan. And I saw also James Rolfe when Ozzy passed. It's like, hey, I'm taking the day off, man, to mourn this legend. It's amazing how it can have an impact on a bunch of strangers' lives to the point that they mourn you when you pass.
Yeah. Yes, 1,000%. There's so much here. I'll tell you this. Hulk Hogan transcended wrestling down in Brazil, right? I mean,
yeah.
What about Ric Flair? Do you know who Ric Flair is?
Ric Flair, I might recognize if you show me a picture,
okay.
But not from the name.
The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Now, look, I'll tell you this. On my bingo card, I did not have Ric Flair outliving Hulk Hogan. Because Ric Flair, this is the Nature Boy. Let's go share my screen here. He said over on X, "I'm absolutely shocked to hear about the passing of my close friend Hulk Hogan. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business. An incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father. Our friendship has meant the world to me. He was always there for me, even when I didn't ask for him to be. He was one of the first to visit me when I was in the hospital with a 2% chance of living, and he prayed by my bedside. Hulk also lent me money when Reed was sick. Hulkster, no one will ever compare to you. Rest in peace, my friend.
That's
so,
amazing.
I don't. Does Ric Flair look familiar to you at all?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I've seen him though, but it does definitely look familiar.
Well, Jesse the Body Ventura. Let's see. I thought he popped up as well now, but WWE has actually posted an article as well here, or a video as well. Legendary Hulk Hogan, their quick video, which I don't want to play too much, but you can see kind of this him in the 80s. It's where he's gonna drop the leg and body slam Andre the Giant, which will certainly get flagged for that. Razor Fist over on X says, thank you, Hulk Hogan, for the Hulkamania of my childhood, for the new world order of my teens, most of all, for being man enough to surrender all those prodigious achievements to the baptismal pool, arising a Christian. Godspeed, brother, now rest. Yeah. There's tons of video of hopefully getting baptized later in life.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's
it's nuts, man. This is one of those that you look at and you go, wow. This is gonna hit a lot of people hard, and did not wake up today thinking that. I mean, the fact that my wife came in was like, yikes. That's said something about it. It's nuts. So, this past week, we have had Theo from
Order accepted. Thank you.
I don't know if you're familiar with Theo from the coffee show.
No, I'm not.
But we had Ozzy Osbourne pass away as well, and now Hulk Hogan. They say things come in threes, man, and there's your third. Hulk Hogan, truly the third man, making his way to heaven or hell, depending on what you think about Hulk Hogan. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, very, very weird and crazy. So, Labs, you got any closing thoughts on Hulk Hogan?
I'm sorry for people who are sad, but he did not affect my life in any way. So, to me, he's a stranger, but listen, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a shithead, or no, because I don't know enough about him. So,
Not even the 90s movies? Yeah, that's...
I've never seen, maybe I've seen some of his stuff, in clips, or I've seen, pictures on YouTube, but I'm not a wrestling person. I know they've had just fine to see that Dusty Cody, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So let me say this, Labs. You say Hulk Hogan didn't affect you by any means.
No, not me personally, but I'm not denying he affected other people. I never even said that.
I know, but what I'm going to say is Hulk Hogan affected somebody that affected you. I guess
That's a good point.
Okay.
So that's the best way I can say to wrap it up. Whether he affected you or not, he affected somebody who affected you. And then I'm not speaking directly to Labs, I'm speaking to whoever. Said that WWE has made a statement on this. WWE is sad to learn that Hulk Hogan has passed away, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 80s. WWE extends its condolences to his family and friends. So, there we go. Rest in peace, Hulkster. Hulkamania, rest in peace. Hulkamania will never die. You guys have a lot to say about this, so we need to get to some of your support supers. We do have a lot to get to today. I know we just talked a long time about wrestling. We're glad you guys are continuing to do it. Subscribe button. Join us live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. So please stick around. Keeping updated, stick around with us. We have a lot to get to today. Our fans and Pat Bell. Joseph says, for Ozzy, Holster for those first longer time the dad and the Dragon mostly Bronson. Wow, Big West of Pro Island. No, I don't. It's like
I don't know why the conversation got to that, but Beard was like, which one's the real and the real is they them stabbing.
Funny that too.
It's like, yeah, like, you have to take care of them, you have to protect them from wild beasts and stuff. Like, the other men survive and stuff. But then it's like, oh, it's real life, they're gonna work out, they're gonna go marathon, Shia LaBeouf movies. Wow. Very specific. It's one terrible joke and meme on top of another song that explains. Well, yeah, that's the real life. Ian, you guys are welcome to real life. Now listen, he is real life. Games. Let's go. He, with the 50-euro money, says, hey guys, you didn't see that. Never mind. Uh-oh. What did we not see, Ian? Was it this? That was the next one? Watch out, dude. What? Thank you so much, Ian, for unleashing support.
Nice.
Let's take like a all comments don't don't use smartwatches. Get yourself an expensive watch. Example, Mega
You're mine. Gotcha.
Let's also lots are paid off in market rents. And this can be it's also which reflects most places outside the USA.
Internet even better. Yeah. Look at the cheap watch man, warrior. The giant. Have Godspeed. Andre, the giant, yes. Magnus says, since you think being concerned is fine, this means you think the truth doesn't matter and being honest / suckers and I'd say being fine is wrong. There's a difference. I think we all work together. So, just lost it to just a pool for Halloween back in 93 as Matt Hawk and Wrestling 18 is my all-time favorite match. He's the reason I became a wrestling fan. He's the defining figure in the industry, hands down. This was
See Andrew and John Andrew people the night.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can remember which, but I just remember seeing him. I don't remember exactly which.
That one.
Yeah. Yes, that's the one. That's I was thinking.
Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan's he's competing in WrestleMania. This guy also, would it be this case for Trump? If someone with a chick you perfect events that are in the sake. So the WWE Hall of Famer. However, Hulk Hogan took what superstar Billy Graham did in the 70s, early 80s, and number 11. Look at that side by side back there. Yeah, they're a big deal now. He's spinning so hard right now. His thing is so hard. I just don't want it. His house is crazy. It's not when I said I don't know anything about that. I'm waiting for this. That's how long I love to do wrestling podcasts. I love it. I can talk about wrestling stuff all day long. It's fun. Crazy days. And this was fun to watch. I was watching my podcast regarding NWO. This is crazy. By the way, Dan Bask, where have you been?
Been laying low, working on headphones or gays.
The Trilla says, let's not lie now, Craig. This is true. Hulk Hogan was getting booed for a multitude of reasons. Booing him for his look reasons was childish, though. Yeah, so I think this is actually his last appearance in WWE. He came out and he got really heavily. And a lot of people say that it was because of cleaning. There's also footage of him saying like the N-word and stuff on camera. So like, people like you said you said the N-word one time, also Republican, and then all of a sudden have to hate you forever, right? So
Do you have like I don't even want to say political, it was more like a cultural consensus on WWE the same way you have the secret that was
be more conservative and stuff. Doing that.
Okay, so it's wrestling community, specifically online, from the IWC here, that wrestling community, it is widely considered. Like, the video game community in online is nuts. We all understand, right? It's like Reddit, right? Reddit is insane, stupid. The IWC is widely considered the exact same. Its audience, on the other hand, its audience, just like in gaming, a lot of so that's besides the show in the IWC, but traditionally, in wrestling online, it's just one of those early betas. Yeah, that's interesting. It says, the Colts first of the AWA in the late 70s, and TNA in 2000. We were born in Augusta, Georgia. Legit played on fans and at the base. Good, it says, even South Good. It says, there are videos of local injuries to pay for you. We see it being athletic. It was pretty good. However, Vince wanted him as the enormous star. He says, Paul's best win was against the Walker. Sex game. Yeah, he got it. Walker. I mean, look, it's probably an hour to talk about, but the roller coaster that Logan fight. Yeah, he sued Walker with a major website and just posted this bullshit and then lied blatantly about it. And he sued him and more or less ended their company. It was spectacular. Did he win? He did. Yes, he did it. Honey Megaphone says, Shogun Omar people, correct? I can't not get flagged. Light Barrett said, don't forget Holmes victory against Stalker. Yep. Anti-gamer, gamer game. It's going to be interesting on Jesse Ventura handles his death as he's had tough to beat for decades. His whole squashed him wanting a union. Yeah. A wrestling union. Yeah. Yeah, Jesse somebody I'm sure wanted there to be a wrestling union, and Vince and ultimately Hulk squashed that in the 80s. Yeah, would have been a big deal. Kevin says Hulk Hogan commented on Pokemon National Championships back in 2006. Rest in peace, brother. Hold the ones you love close. Evan Cross says, I think him and Macho Man had beef as well. They squashed it, I think. Hideki says, dumbest thing just happened in work. I told one of my coworkers that Hulk Hogan passed. She said, well, he was a Trump supporter.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I said, what does that have to do with anything? What in the world is this coming to? Yeah, right. Hideki, that is so fucking stupid. I don't told you. Don Norban says, Dan, check Netflix. They have an international rights to WWE. Also, tons on YouTube as well. Wrestling with Regret YouTube channel has tons on it.
Cool.
Welcome.
We'll do,
I'm glad that you could make it.
That's so
Let's see
fascinating.
how those orders are looking.
Retro Jim says, Hogan's death is rough for friend of the show, DSP. So interested to see. Yeah, we'll see how Dark Side will handle it today.
This cargo looks
Mercenary
absolutely
said they don't wish
wonderful.
death on Ozzy.
You sure
but
took
they don't
good
wish
care of
that
it.
death on anybody. All I said was I'm glad Ozzy is gone. He creeps me out in a bad way.
That's the same thing. I don't understand anyone, but I'm glad he's dead.
That's not the same thing.
Don't say I'm mercenary.
No, I'm not.
Aw, I appreciate all your help.
I don't want Dan to die.
Have
I'm
enough
glad
materials?
he's dead.
I've made more
Well,
help.
he died. I'll be happy. I don't Craig to die, but when Craig died.
Well, see you later, everybody. Definitely not a Gator says new V Shoujo accusation. Silvervale founding member got a call from the CEO after playing, I guess, HL during a harassment campaign against her, and said was a disappointment, brand risk, and an inconvenience. Interesting. Thank you. I don't know if you've been following the whole V Shoujo drama online, Dan. Maybe I
No, man. I'm not being online too much lately. Just focusing on those are fun.
Jeff came in and blasted the Beardo of this channel.
Don't insult me with that shit.
Hey, I love Beardo. Shut up. Beardo's great.
I made another
We got
trinket I
Dr.
think you'll
Beardo.
like.
Yeah.
It's a charm
Beardo,
that'll
what's up,
help
buddy?
you form strong
We have you
bonds.
on
Till
today.
next
Shout
time.
out.
We need to have Beardo on so we can have him and Blast.
Order completed. Well done.
Fine.
Why do you think Beardo? What's
Wrestling
Beardo?
match.
Beardo.
chicken legs.
Okay. Wow. Game Hunter says, I'm going to shed manly tears for Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. Talk about owning your baldness also with Hulk Hogan. Him and Sean Connery.
Dude, looking
Owning
great.
your bald.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he did a good job of hiding it for a long time with the bandana, right?
Yeah.
But you know, he owned it when he was in the movies and stuff. He couldn't have a bandana on the whole time. I think his natural choice was to have the bandana on. I think, right? But when he had to have it on, the bandana, you know, came off and he went fine. You know.
Yeah, when I'm getting bald, I'm shaving everything.
Been there, done that.
Not just my hair.
Been there, done that. Do the whole thing, huh?
Just the whole thing.
Oh man, the switch on the plate says my mustache will never grow to Hulk Hogan level. Yeah, he did have a sweet stash. And Overbot says, "Whoa, Dan Bask on my birthday wouldn't have found G&G if it wasn't
Really?
You know, if it wasn't for Dan. There you go.
That's awesome. Happy birthday.
Go. I believe Dan Bask is here to sing you happy birthday as well.
Much happy birthday for you.
Or should I? There's now there are two of them.
You have no idea that you did that, Dan. You were a reoccurring guest on our show, just so you know.
That's awesome.
That's great. Nelson says, I wonder why why I enjoy schlocking movies with wrestlers in it from the 90s, but absolutely hate seeing The Rock, John Cena, and Dave Bautista right now. Delta, I think it comes down to your nostalgia.
Yeah, what's that about? Now we can stand them. I used to be so cool to see them on TV and on movies.
Yes. All right, let's listen. I think we'll close that saying "Rest in peace, Holster," right there. Tough one. Dan, question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Pizza Hut?
I don't think we have any.
Ooh, okay, maybe, you know what? I'm gonna hold off.
We have Domino's.
I'm gonna hold off on this then. I'm gonna hold off on the story because I think this is a very American thing that I'm gonna talk about. And I want to make sure.
We have Outback.
That has been well established. It's your favorite fast food restaurant, isn't it? Yes. And what I
Fast food steak.
That is a really deep side-scrollers cover.
It is, man. Years ago.
It's good. All right. Well, let's get to this. Did you see the latest news from Uber? Of all things, do you have Uber? And
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know what you guys think about that. I actually, it's like, I would be
Order
much
accepted.
more comfortable.
Thank you.
Maybe I should tell the audience what this is about. But
yeah. Well, I mean, you can see it right there. Uber will let women drivers and riders request to avoid being paired with men starting next month in the United States.
yes, it's like when my girlfriend or my mother are going to get an Uber late at night. I would feel much more comfortable. You know, it's a female driver. Call me sexist or something, but just how I feel. It's freedom of association.
Blast, how do you feel about this?
I absolutely agree with Dan because let's be real, there's been a lot of stories that men were just kidnapped and collected purpose and genital rape and all these other horrible things, right? So I'm just kind of like, this isn't so bad because we can't fix society, shout it out. And also, it seems very, very sexist. It's not if you're very just like basing someone slowly and we're supposed to be going in the opposite direction. Going on, you have this huge problem where people are being kidnapped and things like that. I'm like, okay, so let's see.
So, an example, right? Yeah, I'm just curious, how does this work with, like, the pronouns? You think you're gay? Okay, it's a tree. Phoenix, you bring a really great point. That's actually what I was going to say. Ironically, this is rolling out from Los Angeles and San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
The beacon, where no one has a gender. Yeah, where people have no idea what a woman is anymore. Right? So how do you say you want a man, you don't want a man driver, then it's a man driving? Yeah, male, right? That's a really good point, Phoenix, and I'm glad you bring it up. obviously, the biggest question naturally is, if I'm a man, can I request a woman driver, or can I not request a woman driver? Right? I mean, the same these are. It's not sexist if it's done equally to both. It's and this is sexist, I think, right? So don't you think so, Bob?
I agree. I seem to have an issue with lots of dudes who got in kidnapped.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
I think that it's sexist, but I'm okay with it sexist. Right?
It's
No, it's okay. You treat women and men differently. If that's sexist, like, girl sex.
Okay, so the person who says that this is Michael overnight says sure most importantly can men request me to avoid being paired with female driver? Yeah, does this violate the equal protection clause?
doesn't that go against everything that they've been putting in place?
Hey, Mr. Rob, what civil statute would be violated if I were a business that refused service?
You know, just explain.
Oh, not here we go. Hey, Mr. Rob, what civil statute would I be violated if I were a business that refused service to someone based on sex alone? Rock says, in the U.S., refusing service based solely on sex would violate state anti-discrimination laws in public accommodations, which often includes sex as a protected class. Federally, Title II of the Civil Rights Act of 1965 does not cover sex. The Equal Protection Clause applies to government actions, not private businesses. Policy may face challenges on similar grounds. So, yeah, this is the thing.
It's like, this is rough. That kind of legislation is rough because imagine you go to beauty salon to get a Brazilian thing. Like your wife goes there to do that, and it's like there's a man there that's gonna do that too. Would you prefer to be for a girl?
Yes. Yes. Is that illegal? I mean,
So, a transgender woman came into a wax place. She was all like, it's like, because obviously he wanted to like get his, get waxed out there. She couldn't do that because obviously, like, she's touching a male body. She had the right to say no. Which was also a lawsuit. Oh, she would I never that folks never yet seen shit on trying to drive me. And you would yeah.
Well, let's take this a step further. If you can, I say, sorry. Let's take this a step further. If you can say, I don't want a man in my what's stopping you from saying, hey, as I'm sharing on my screen right now, what about an Uber app where you can select the driver's race? Oh,
that would be so bad.
Or what if you just say, I only want English speakers? Right? Like, if you want to do this filter thing, that's fine. This is the whole thing of inclusivity.
It has to be consistent.
Yeah, that's right. The inclusivity nature of this is where the slippery slope rolls down the line, because, hey, I totally understand the sentiment here. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And you can't stop. You got to go all the way down the hill.
Impressive work.
So,
Dan, personally, I'm for freedom of association, no matter the content, no matter what. And it's like you can make fun of people and you criticize people's choices of association, but nevertheless, freedom of association, in my opinion.
Something is funny. I've said we driven only by
right. Like, if you pare it down to just the race and sex that you want to be driven around in, I think that's like it's both fucked up and funny at the same time. Labs, which race and sex would you want driving you around?
Which race and sex?
so weird. Well, I'm lucky because Uber isn't even a thing by me, so I don't even.
But hypothetically, Labs.
She's speak a language with them.
Yeah. You already does a pretty good job filtering people with their rating system, but even so, like with my other.
That's the spirit. Thank you, Sam. Order accepted. Thank you. Very impressive work, Sam. That's the spirit.
Did anybody hear me? Yo! Hey,
Gotta stretch my legs. Someone's out there.
covered everything then. Great. Let's get it delivered.
Glad you could make it. Took care of some orders. Excellent. Sorry to lean on you so much, Sam. I hope this makes up for the trouble. Are you sure you have enough material?
Now displaying your current porter grade.
When...
Order completed. Well done.
service and transporting this cargo is appreciated.
We assumed this delivery was lost for good.
Now displaying your current porter grade.
Order completed. Well done. Order accepted. Thank you.
You really are a league of your own.
Order completed. Well done. Order accepted. Thank you.
Boy, that must hurt.